Well, summer's over and it's time to go back to school. Now, it all depends on where you are. For a lot of kids, for a lot of boys and girls, and for teenagers, they're already in school. And for some people, for some kids, they're probably going back to school right now. So it all depends on who's watching this video. But a hot topic right now is been going on for the last several months. It's CRT, or what some people call critical race theory, and that's something that's been going around in social media and in the news. Critical race theory, critical race theory. Now, critical race theory, it's been muddling around, but not everyone knows exactly what that is. People have been saying, oh, they don't want it taught in their schools and in K through 12, but they don't really understand. Critical race theory is a theory that's actually taught in college and universities. Now, CRT, it's a theory process that's for college students. Now, K through 12, kindergarten to 12th grade students, that's something that the Board of Education can't actually teach high school students or elementary school students. Not saying that they wouldn't understand it, but it's not something that they would actually teach those students. Um, it's not a concept. What a lot of people are interested in not going to teach them is the kind of American history, the original American history that us older people, original American history that the full and complete American history that us people 35 and older learned back in the 60s and 70s. The kind of things that complete and total the full spectrum of American history. Now, I've gone and, I've actually asked a lot of students and a lot of people, the millennials and people I know who are in their, 25, 26, 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, even teenagers and people in their 20s and 30s, certain things that I learned and, and people my age have learned in history and, that I used to tutor certain things in history and that I've tutored, when I was, to other kids. And things about history that millennials just don't know. People in their 23s, 24s, they say they've never even learned it. That their teachers never even taught it. They've never even heard of this stuff. Like, people 24 years old, I asked them, when you were in school, in high school, did anyone actually teach you about, let's say, the Andrew Jackson and the Tale of Tears? I'm sorry. The Trail of Tears. I'm sorry, I'm muddling my words here. The Trail of Tears. And they say they'd never heard of it. And they never ever taught it to them. They never even knew about it. And I've asked teenagers, can you tell me about the slave triangle. They didn't understand what the slave triangle was. And they said that the Underground Railroad was pretty much a 10 to 20 minute course that their teachers taught that, and it was not an actual, you know, taught lesson. It was just pretty much their teachers were told them. It was just they talked about it for 20 minutes. Now that's not sufficient. That's not going over all of history. Now some people say, "Oh, you're demeaning white history." That's not demeaning or trying to take down or derational white people in history. I'm not trying to take down, white people in history. That's trying to teach the full spectrum of American history. A lot of bad things happen in American history. But in order to understand the full and complete concept of American history, you need to talk about everything. A lot of good things happen, and a lot of bad things happen. But you have to talk about everything. There is a saying, and I'm sure many people have heard about it. If you do not learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. So, if you do not learn from it and talk about it, these things are eventually going to happen again. You have to understand it. You have to talk about it, teach it, and learn from those things. In order for those things not to happen again. I mean, in other countries, bad things happen, and those other countries talk about those things, and they teach their students, they teach their kids, these nasty things, we did those horrible, horrible things. In order to teach those kids, we did this stuff, make sure you don't do those things. And it don't happen. So that's the kind of stuff we need to teach our kids. And you say, a lot of people say, we did these things, and and we try to take them out of American history books. And you say, you're taking down white people, No, a lot of white people did a lot of great, great, great things. But they did a lot of bad things too. They did a lot of bad things. And a lot of, black people, they did a lot of bad things too, but they did a lot of great things. Like the first open heart surgery was done by a black man. You didn't know that. That was not taught in a history book. But it was done. You didn't know that. Because they didn't teach that they don't teach that anymore. But you need to learn these things. They took those out of history books. You need to learn these things. You need to put those back into those history books so that these students can relearn these things. And these are not, critical race theories. These are the true American history, people. And you need to relearn this stuff. You need to not reinventing, but relearn the true concepts, the true American history that made this country great, made this country strong, made this country what it is, that made this country proud, that made this country what it originally was, so mighty and strong. And that is what we need to do. And it's not about critical racist theory that's tearing down, and trying to denigrate white people and kind of turn, race wars or anything, because I learned all of this stuff when I was a kid, and it never turned me into a bigot or a racist, because I'm not racist. I never even had the concept of racism. I learned all of this stuff, and growing up, my best friend were white, and I never even thought about being racist. So, what does that tell you? It has nothing to do with racism. It has to do with true American history. And you need to learn the complete true American values and true American history. They don't teach about segregation. They don't teach about all about why there was Malcolm X, about the true values, about the annexation, about why the Underground Railroad truly happened, about the Tuskegee Airmen. They never heard about these things. Think about this. In Germany, ever since World War II, there is no one allowed to name their child Adolf. Because of what happened in World War II. And they teach everything about World War II in history. Absolutely everything. The history of World War II and everything about what happened to the children in history, so that it will never happen again. Why are we taking that out of history books about what happened in history over here? Are we going to let them do better than us? You say we're the greatest nation in the world. Why are we segregating our history and calling it critical race theory? But then we say we're not a racist country. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe. I do respond to comments, and I do respond. Please send all your comments, and I'll respond as quickly as possible. Please forward this video to anyone that you see or deem necessary. Look forward to future videos. Thank you.